Hey guys, Kevin Screaming Chicken here. Today we're going to show you how to install our Trans Am replica wheel with all of its adapters and accessories. I'm going to start by showing you how to remove a wheel and give you a couple tips and tricks with that. So I've already removed this wheel once, and when I went to remove the nut, it just wanted to turn the wheel. You can let the wheel turn all the way to the left, but we currently have this car up on some race ramps. So a quick little tip with this one is I just put a couple of screws back in the steering wheel so that I can hold it with one hand and get some leverage on it while I try to break the nut loose. So this one is tight. Okay, I got it broke loose. I'm gonna pull this nut off. And we'll set it to the side. Then I'm gonna go ahead and take this wheel back off and get it out of the way because we already have a adapter on this column. These steering wheels will work with a 69 through 71 Firebird or Trans Am, or if you have an aftermarket column like we have in this car, it'll also work with the aftermarket columns. This car has an 𝐈𝐧𝐬𝐿 column in it, so that's why we are able to do it even though this is a 67. Okay, now we're going to take our steering wheel puller and take the two bolts and it'll screw into this adapter. If you still have a factory style steering wheel, it will have holes just like this behind like your horn button area. This part is the same for really any car, modern, old. With a factory style wheel, sometimes you can kind of tap the back of the wheel and get them to pop loose, but this is just a lot easier. You want to make sure the bolt is centered on the column. There's a gear set under here. You're going to make sure that this gets as centered as you can on there, and then just take and use a ratchet and it will pull it off. And there you go. And there's your clock spring that works your blinkers and your hazard switch that's built in there and all that stuff. This is an aftermarket column, so a factory column will look a little different on the inside, but about the same. Here's your horn contact, spring, and keeper in this 𝐈𝐧𝐬𝐿 column. We're going to put them in this order. Depending on the column, a factory column may go this way, where this is pushing down on the spring, and then the keeper. There's not a lot of good information out there. There's a couple of videos that do it the opposite way with each one. So you're going to want to test this before you put it all back together, because you put the adapter and your rest of your horn contacts and the nut on there and it doesn't work, you're going to have to get the puller back out and pull it all back apart. So while it's still apart, you want to test this, and you can put it together and then just take your horn spacer and press on it to test it and make sure you're touching the center of the column so that you ground out, and you'll hear your horn honk if you got it right. So we'll go ahead and slide the spring over the contact and then slide it down into the hole. And then with your keeper, you'll see there's a little, I'm not going to call it a notch, but a little pin that you're going to slide down through this little groove, and then you should just be able to use your finger or a fingernail and turn it, and then that'll hold the keeper in place. Next, we're going to take our adapter, and we found that rather than trying to reach into this adapter, just doing this little part first is a lot easier. So now we're going to take our adapter and line it up, give it a little wiggle, slide it down, and then once we put our nut and our horn button in, that'll help hold it in place. Go ahead and slide. There is a notch where your horn contact goes, so you want to make sure to line that up. Okay, and then we've got our nut that holds everything on and together. I'm just going to take it and put it on the tip of my finger. Well, I was going to pull that back out. Slide it back in place, give it another twist to make sure we got it in the right spot. And then put it on the tip of my finger, and then just get it started with my finger, and then we'll put a ratchet on it and tighten it down. Alright, that's in there, and let me grab the ratchet. Okay, we've got our nut started and hand tight. You want to double check for what column you have. Most GM columns should be about 30 foot-pounds. We're going to go ahead and torque this on. There we go. And then next we'll take our wheel. And get it lined up into place. And then grab our hardware for our wheel. Okay, I've got the steering wheel up in place. I don't have any of these real tight yet. I'm gonna finish tightening up this last one. With these countersunk bolts, I like to just get them all started where they start to get into place, and it'll put everything where it needs to be, and then go through and tighten them all. And then you're going to want to take and put your horn button. Make sure you put your emblem up. Here are the emblems that we currently offer. We've got the gold bird, a red bird, and the Pontiac emblem. Don't do like we did and put it in the wrong position and then go back and have to make some minor adjustments. You're going to want to make sure that your prongs line up with your indentions on your horn spacer. And then this will just pop into place. Okay, so as you can see, it's a pretty easy install. Here we've got an aftermarket 𝐈𝐧𝐬𝐿 column and a factory column. One of the easiest ways to tell the difference if you don't know what column you have in your car is the factory column is going to have this box on the side that holds your blinker and your tilt lever. On the insides, you can see on the 𝐈𝐧𝐬𝐿, you sink in quite a bit. You don't have any kind of cover over it, whereas with the factory one, you've got this cover that pushes out so that your actual adapter won't sit down as far. So one thing you want to make sure is when you get your steering wheel on, you can see here, if your horn button's all the way against the wheel, it's not going to work. You want to make sure that it sits out, you know, about an 1/8 to 3/16 or so of an inch, far enough that you can push it and let off, and your horn turns back off when you let off. The trickiest part of this install is making sure you get the horn set up right. As you can see, it's basically kind of the same thing other than the difference in distance here. Over here, we've got your original factory style horn contact. And then here we've got what comes with this 𝐈𝐧𝐬𝐿 column. You can see that your contact's quite a bit longer. And I'll slide it over here for comparison. And you've got a different length spring as well. This piece is for a different style steering wheel than what we offer. Our solution for this is we offer two different styles of contacts. A shorter one for your stock style column, and then a longer one for the 𝐈𝐧𝐬𝐿 column. Now, if you do find that your horn is just pressed up against the wheel and honking when you hook everything back up, we offer this spacer that you put behind your horn spacer. It sits right in there, and it just pushes it out just enough so that you have enough room, and this is all you need right here. Like I said, about an 1/8 to a 3/16 of an inch, so that when you let back off the horn, you don't constantly have it going off. All right, so you can see we've got everything fully installed here. You can see the little gap in here that I can fit my finger underneath. It's ready to go. We're gonna be wrapping this car up here in the next couple of weeks. We'll probably give you a couple more videos on a few things, and then we'll move on to the next one and show you guys some other stuff. So always remember, please like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you guys next week.